Hi guys.
That's just what we do every single time. We're like, what's up?
Yeah, it's like it's an adrenaline rush. I don't know. I get excited.
Every single time. But Sabrina, it's magical that you grew your hair out so fast.
Yeah, I'm going for Ariana Grande's look today.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank you.
Well, but how are you on this cold day?
I'm good. Got some housework done on this nice cold day, so can't complain. Can't complain.
But
How are you?
yeah, I'm great. I'm excited for today's episode. It's almost Christmas, so I'm excited. You know.
I know, too many days till Christmas.
But yeah, so on today's episode of the Talk of the Ring show, you have your host,
Oh, sorry, Sabrina and
Harley. And today we have none other than, I know I'm going to say this wrong, but the Hungarian hero.
Yay!
What's up? Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Can't complain about anything, which is one of the rare days. Unlike you, I'm less excited about Christmas because my wallet hates it. But yeah, it's a nice day. It's a cold day. I already had too many cold days in my life, so I'm as happy as I can be on a cold day.
Can't relate. It's freezing. I was doing some shoveling. I'm like, oh no, this is too cold for me.
Oh, shoveling. Did you get snow up your way?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh.
I think it's still snowing actually here.
No, it's rain and ice.
Yeah, rain and ice right here too. That's it.
No, yeah, it's snowing here. Hopefully it stops.
I hope so.
But yeah, so Sabrina wants to kick off today's episode and ask the first question. Go for it, Sabrina.
Oh, okay. So my first question is, who or what got you into wrestling?
I honestly got myself into wrestling, and I don't know how long this show will exactly go on, but this answer could take hours, honestly. I grew up knowing nothing about it. I'm from Budapest, Hungary, born and raised until I was 26 years old. And growing up, there was not wrestling was not on TV unless someone had like a pirate antenna to steal some TNT or I don't even know what was WWE or WWF at the time running on. But it was just like the general knowledge of professional wrestling in Hungary was that like, oh, it's fake. Everybody knows it's fake. And the actor Hulk Hogan was a wrestler. Like that's all we knew. No one cared about it. We had world champion boxers, Olympic champion boxers. That was more of a thing. And then in 2007, 8, I don't remember exactly. I was at home watching TV late night, flicking channels, and on Eurosport they had TNA on, and I didn't know what was it, but it looked interesting. Kept it on, and then soon I heard the word pro wrestling, which we don't use for pro wrestling. We use a different word due to a mistranslation, and I kept watching, and I was like, I know that there's like these weird parts where they could hit each other or they could protect themselves, but they don't. So like, I know what a real fight looks like.
Yeah.
But it still looks brutal. Like, how do they do this? And then there was a big dive from the cage, top of the cage, into the ring, and AJ Styles took the dive and just got pancaked. And like I was like, oh my god, this guy's dead. Like maybe both of them are dead. The cage was really tall, and then they got up and wrestled for another 10 minutes, and I was fascinated. Like, how did they not die? Like, how is this possible? You can't fake gravity. This is just me at like 1 a.m. sitting in my room thinking out loud to myself, and then I just like caught it whenever I caught it, and then turned out one of my friends knows more about it. So he's like, yeah, you can like illegally download it from here, like, torrent and stuff, because it was not on TV. So he gives me links. I start downloading, and WrestleMania 25 and the Royal Rumble before that was the first two pay-per-views I ever seen in my life in 2009.
Wow.
And that's Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. And like basically the Royal Rumble match in itself is the one that like truly sparked the intrigue of the sport. Because and of course I did all my googling on it, watch all the YouTube videos. Is it fake? Is it not fake? Is it what is it? So that's what was the initial push. That I found out that there's no such thing in Hungary. So I just tried everything to find like-minded people. At the time, I was not playing sports anymore. I was playing hockey before, which is my first and true love. And I'm missing the Penguins game for this show. So,
We are honored.
but it's worth it. It's worth it. Okay. So, anyways, to make it, as I said, this could go on for a very long time. But I found a YouTube video in late 2009, where 14, 15-year-old Hungarian kids in a gymnasium performing wrestling moves that I saw in the video games and everything on like these thick mattresses. They even brought in ladders to like imitate Jeff Hardy and all that kind of stuff. And like literally, they were the only ones that I could find that it's like anywhere close to what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So I looked in the clicked on the uploader's profile, and there was, drum roll, a MySpace link.
Oh my god.
Feeling young. And there was a MySpace link to one of the guys that uploaded the video and also was in the video as a wrestler. Basically, it was backyard stuff, yeah, in there, but there was no crowd or anything. They were just filming themselves as they're practicing these moves
Yeah.
and imitating scenes and whatnot. And I got in touch with this guy on MySpace, and I kept messaging him that I'm interested in doing this, and if they are still doing it, because that was the only way to get in for me. And he told me that they're not really doing it anymore, and also the video is like a few years older. So now they were like between 18 and 20, and I was 21 at the time. So 21, 22 at the time. But he's like, hey, if you want to hang out, I have a bunch of wrestling DVDs, and we can hang out and talk about it. And after a couple of months, we finally got together. And next thing you know, maybe about 6 months later, we started Hungarian Championship Wrestling, which is still running today. And we trained in a Olympic wrestling facility, so not in a ring. So I learned all my bumps on actual wrestling mat that is solid. It's like this much padding on concrete. So all the rolls, all the bumps that we could teach ourselves. We found a DVD that we like ripped off the internet and burned it and all that. I think it was UWF or something like that. It was a wrestling school where John Cena was in the class in like 1999. Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, they were all students. And this wrestling school / wrestling federation, I believe maybe in California, they recorded a 3-set DVD on the basics of wrestling. So every roll, every bump, how to lock up, how to do a headlock, how to basically there were no slams, no moves, just truly the basic mechanics that you need to own as a wrestler. And based on that, we practiced it on this wrestling mat. So that's how it all started. And years later, I'm here in the United States, and just came back from Hungary actually. And the Hungarian Championship Wrestling is still thriving as one of the, if not the most successful promotions in Europe, outside of the mainstream, meaning NXT Europe, or what they call it, NXT UK, and WXW, which is now half of WXW. Is the roster is our guys that were kids when we trained them, and like these guys on my shirt, the Guyash brothers,
Yeah.
Very successful tag team, and HCW is selling out every show with 700 plus people in the crowd. So
Oh my God, that's crazy. So did you like obviously you started training there, but when you came to the United States, have you trained here at all or no?
yes, so actually, when we put on our first show in 2010, um, which was for what it was very successful. And I don't know how we survived. Basically, we did uh, very much, it was like Tournament of Death. Like it was very CZW hardcore, light tubes, like everything, really everything. It was so risky, and it was in a boxing ring.
Oh my.
So four ropes, no give. So we had to shove mattresses under the canvas. And that guy that I met on MySpace, his name is Icarus. You can look him up on Instagram. Uh, he's very successful now, and he's tag team champions in Hungary and Germany. Just he also, like everyone else, really who stuck it out and put in the work, came really far from what everybody told us that it will go nowhere. So he also works in television. So his bedroom was like this big studio where he could make magic, and that still does as far as the editing and post post recording work goes. So he made really cool music videos of our shows, like a 5-6 minute highlight reel with music.
Yeah.
And because it was brutal, blood, ta da da, it kind of got popular on YouTube, what you today would call viral. But it wasn't that viral. It just got like, I don't know, 10, 20,000 views, but in Germany and in Austria and in different countries. And a lot of actual wrestlers, trained wrestlers at the time, got upset at us and called us like, oh, you're backyarders and careless, reckless. And we didn't even know what a backyarder is. We just wanted to do this. Like we didn't mean no harm.
Yeah.
And then one country and one promotion particularly took it very differently, and that was Pro Wrestling Holland, where I just wrestled before I went to Hungary. They got in touch with us, and basically what they said, you guys got fucking guts. Like you guys are ballsy, you guys have passion, you guys are dedicated. And one of their head trainers offered to fly in to wrestle on one of our shows and also teach us for about 4 days. So we had a 4 day seminar and a show. So that
Wow.
was Gabriel Angel Fire, who is today retired, and it is in the HCW Hall of Fame, very deservedly. And then others came along. So we just had people constantly coming in, training us. But it wasn't your quote unquote wrestling school. However, this included many names that you might be familiar with, such as Alistair Black, who was Tommy End at the time, with his tag team partner Dante, wrestled for us many times and was teaching us over many weekends. El Generico, Sami Zayn, was our first North American, because he's Canadian, name that wrestled for us and also was teaching us. And on the Washington, D.C. episode of Raw, it was really cool to bump into Sammy and talk to him. Like, this is the first time he saw me in 10 years, but he remembered because we went out, we had pizza, we had a good time.
Mhm.
We Hungarians are the best hosts. So you always have fun with us. So, and then here in the States, I just went to every seminar I could. I didn't particularly sign up at a wrestling school. I was busy establishing myself as far as legal work, getting places to place to live at, not just like in someone's room and whatnot. Like I came here with a few $100s and a bag of clothes. So
Oh, wow.
that's 100% true. So I didn't. My first focus was not necessarily to get wrestling training, but I did
Right.
go to UWE where I trained first. But in some ways, I learned a lot from us, and other ways they learned a lot from me. So it's wrestling can be really good, beautiful that way.
Of course. And so he's like, you brought up like MySpace, and that brought me back to when I was like, I remember like you kicked someone
12.
off your top friends, and they like flipped on you, and I was like, it was like a lot of drama. But no, it's, I mean, you guys see your perks. Um, but when you were wrestling, are you still wrestling now, or is that kind
Yeah,
of like on the back? Okay.
no,
Are you like the baby face, or are you more of like the heel?
that's I'm a worker. Yeah. So if you, for example, have a wrestling promotion and you bring me in, um, I'll do whatever you tell me to do because that's my job. I'll first, of course, put my ideas on it, but many times I had like when the first time I was brought into West Virginia as a I can't be. I have an accent. My gear screams my country. I can't really be anyone but myself. I mean, I could be. I just don't prefer to be.
Right.
Um, and the promoter said that I would like to bring you in because I don't want to. I don't have anyone as big as you are, tall, big guy who can move, and I want to give you a push, but I need you to be a babyface. I said, well, sir, I've never been to West Virginia, but from what I heard, it's kind of a redneck country, and they're not. I'm foreign. Like I'm not American. I'm usually the anti-American here. I'm usually the Iron Sheik. And he's like, well, that's your problem. This is your job. You have to come in and I'll pay you. And if you're able to make them love you, I'm going to bring you back and I'm going to give you the push. And thankfully, he booked me with someone who was a really established bad guy in that area. And after that, it was all up to me and we made it happen. And I think maybe 2 or 3 shows later, I was their champion as a babyface, and my whole run in West Virginia, I was a babyface. So that's
Wow.
that's how it works. It's much easier to be the bad guy.
That, yeah, no, we say on our podcast all the time, like, me and Harley basically are like people that we will root for whoever the other person's rooting for. So like if she's rooting for the heel, I'll root for the heel. But on this podcast, I'm known for very much of like I am a heel person. I only like the heels.
Mm.
That's why I asked the question because I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, this would be one of my favorite
Well,
wrestlers.
well, again, and that also it's different when they bring you in for a gig like in Lancaster in August. We were wrestling in the baseball stadium, and they specifically brought me in because I'm foreign, and my opponent was the Patriot, and
Oh,
someone who was putting the show on, and the people behind who were sponsoring the show specifically required the Patriot and to have a classic USA versus some foreign bad guy stuff. So it turned into a 3-on-3 match with one side all foreign, the other side all American. And honestly, to be the foreign heel, it's the easiest thing ever. My first company I ever worked for, UWE, which who knows if it exists anymore, but Pro Wrestling Empire came out of it, and January 21st, PWE returns to Harrisburg, by the way, which will be a terrific show where, for the first time ever, I wrestle one-on-one with Facade for the PWE World title. So it'll be very
oh,
exciting.
yes.
But back to that match, it was the easiest thing to come out and find someone in the first front row somewhere that's maybe a veteran, disabled, maybe both, even better, and just like be a hey, you're back, and and just be like a complete a hole to him, and just and then it's just so easy when the USA chants start. If my role is a bad guy, I usually cover my ears and I just stomp back and forth like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And once they get quiet, I tell them that it's not USA, it's you all suck, and then they just start the USA chants again. So it's very easy to be a bad guy because think about real life. And I tell this when I teach in a seminar or something. I always tell this that it's much easier to be the bad guy because if you think about your real life, okay, let's say you meet someone that not like romantically or anything, just you boom, you're maybe at a new job. Okay, your new job, There's 10 people that never seen you before. You could make them hate you in like 2.5 seconds, like genuinely hate you. One statement is enough. But to make them genuinely care for you, that takes long, hard work, and you have to earn it. So actually, to be a baby face sounds exciting, ha. But if you go out and you're like, ah, ha, ha, let's go, and they don't care, ooh, you got a problem. If they don't care about me being a bad guy, I just turn the bad guy even badder, and then bad to worst, and from worst to horrible, and that's very easy.
We were just talking. He's going against Facade in
Yeah.
Harrisburg, and I was like, because you know how you and I feel about Facade, Harley. We're gonna have to root for Laszlo.
Yeah.
Well, you guys gonna have to come down,
That's
Really?
right. Right.
obviously.
We say this all the time. We love Facade as a person, but if he lost his championship on Saturday, best time ever. So we love him, but we root against him. So
I mean, either way, in this case, I would have chose you anyways. Duh.
I
Obviously,
mean,
Sabrina
how
has
how old were you? How old were you when we took that picture the first time? Like 10?
probably oh, no,
Yeah.
maybe 9. I don't know. It
So,
was
yeah.
a long time. I don't think Sabrina had the chance to meet you at all yet, but
no,
one
because
day.
I've only been coming to PBW in April. So yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Welcome to the Outbreak show again,
Yeah.
Harley. Because
Yes.
now it's gonna be me and Ed House going for the tag titles at AXW. So
I'll be there.
as
Yeah.
that's January 7th, Hamburg Fieldhouse.
We were talking about going to that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Sabrina will
okay.
get to meet you there.
And I think
Right.
it's like five. I think it's like $5 for general admission. So if you guys would advertise it too, I mean, come on, anybody can throw $5 at the gate. So
Right.
we're looking to fill up. Like from what I know now, I'm not like I own the company, but I take my work there very seriously, and they have long term plans for a lot of guys, including myself, and I'm very excited about it. So I'm trying to help as much as I can, and I seen that arena with a lot of people in it. WWF used to run there. My mentor Nikolai Volkov, who's unfortunately passed away, but before that, he was there. One of the shows where I wrestled the Patriot again in a bad guy foreign bad guy story, and you know that show was really good. Bleachers were filled, just great atmosphere, and I think that trend is going to start again because they're
Yeah.
doing a really good job at promoting and very fair prices, and yeah. So January 7th and January 21st in Harrisburg.
21st. You know what's funny? It's like if we go to that 21st show, or that whole weekend is gonna be like wrestling and wrestling because that's a busy weekend for us. But no, yeah, we like to promote as many wrestling events on the show as possible just because, we like to get the words out there and see what else is in the Pennsylvania because believe it or not, there's a lot
Right,
of shows that run in PA.
right.
Yeah. Sabrina, you want me to ask a question now? I don't know
Yes,
what
please.
I missed.
Oh no, all I asked was if the baby face and the heel thing, that's all I asked.
Okay.
So the rest is yours. You got this.
I have a question. Do you see like any differences from the United States to Hungary? Like in
Hungary.
Hungry?
Yeah. You get the point. But do you see any differences with wrestling or like any similarities?
You know what? The wrestling style is not really different. I think where it's different is that um, Hungary is a very small country. It's about 10,000 square miles smaller than Pennsylvania alone. So
Oh,
it is really small. The city of Budapest is really big. I mean, 2 million people. It's very big, and it's like a proper city, like what? It's much like Washington D.C. It's a lot like Washington D.C. Except it's not that wealthy and clean, but very a lot of history. I mean, it's an old country. Country is very old. So But as far as the wrestling style, I don't see that much similarities as far as in-ring wrestling because we have our big guys, we have our luchadors, we have like luchador style. Obviously, they don't pretend to be Mexican or Spanish or whichever Latino. Women's wrestling is about the same. I would say where the difference is that because it's a small country with only a couple of promotions in it, that they also work together. So it's not like competing with each other. The production and post production is on a very, very different level compared to about 95% of the American indies. Not to talk crap on anyone, but like with this last show for Bloody November 12, which is it's crazy, 12 years in running that show. That's like our WrestleMania in Hungary. Um, it's the most anticipated show of the year. It's always, always, always sold out to the point where we have to turn away people at the gate. Um, I mean, um, it's where you sit in an arena where the people are sitting in the dark. The highlight is on the ring. LED board. I mean, LED board as big as two-story wall. To have the graphics. Every match has a pre-match promo video, like those really cool WrestleMania videos that they used to do that like 2-3 minutes long
Mm-hmm.
about the feud that you're about to see. And the best part about that, let's say it's you guys are in Hungary and you go to an HCW show and you've never seen an HCW show before. So you don't know who to root for, who to boot. You don't know what's going on, why anything is happening. And you watch this video that's like 2 minutes before the match and you caught up. You kind of have an idea what's going on. So you can immediately be invested. So I would like to say that like in production and post production, there's a much more serious approach in Hungary than in the majority of the indies here. Of course, a lot of it is, that it costs money. It just costs money. But we kind of built our own crew, and we attracted a lot of people who are trying to break into the media business, and this is like a great ground for them because now they can use this footage when they like all of the people that does our post-production stuff, they actually work in national TV. So,
Oh, wow.
and one way or another before that they got that job or while working for us and editing, live editing, all that type of stuff, post-producing, and now they can put that on their resume. So that's where the big difference is. Wrestling style, I don't see a big of a difference. Maybe we are more demanding to be in a certain shape, like a bare minimum.
Hmm.
But also as a country, you don't see big people like here. So everything's bigger in America, but especially the people. Not sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, when you get a picture with Sabrina, she's tiny, so
I'm okay.
Both of you are tiny, man. Shut up.
Harley, we're the same height. You're a little bit
no, I'm
taller
a
than
little bit
me.
taller.
Yeah, but you're like 10 years older, Sabrina.
Oh,
That's Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, wait, I actually am only 10 years, exactly 10 years older than you.
yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And
How like
I'm
we just grew
and
so
I'm 10
quick.
years older than you, so then 20 years older than you.
Oh man.
So in the chat, we have my dad. He said, "What's good to the best female podcast that goes live twice a week?" Then he was chanting you.
Intelligent man.
And then Sabrina's other favorite wrestler, Trevor Kage.
Okay. Well,
Everything is bigger in Texas.
first of all, why are you putting me on the spot today like that?
And we never been to Texas, so.
I don't think I've ever been either.
No.
But my favorite
Really?
wrestlers from Texas. Stan Hansen, the Lariat. What do you think? Why I used the sword of Attila?
Mm.
Alright. Sabrina, if you want to go, you can.
Okay. I mean, I did. Okay. I don't know why this has happened. Okay. So, where would be like one of your dream places to wrestle at?
Oh, very easy. Japan.
That is a
I'm
common answer.
well because it's honestly, if you know, you're a pure wrestler. I'm not. I don't think I'm the greatest showman ever. I also don't think I'm the greatest wrestler ever as far as technique goes. But I'm very invested in making my matches look as realistic as possible. That's always my goal. Um, because of good movies. If you're watching a good movie at home or at the movie theater, you never think about it a second if it's real or not. Of course, it's not fucking real, um, but you get invested. And I remember my first time, I was like emotionally totally invested in a movie as a young teenager. It was Forrest Gump. That was the first time I was like in this roller coaster of emotions, from laughing to almost crying and back and forth and all that. And making you think about like, oh my god, what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So when I look at it, like that's always my thing. And when I watch Japanese, especially 80s, 90s, All Japan, New Japan, or 2000s Noah pro wrestling matches, that's always like the thing. Like, even though there's less emotions in it as far as drama goes, the emotion is brought through the competitiveness of the fight. And my dad, who hates pro wrestling because why would you do that? Why would you willingly lose? And he's quite old, but it's fine. A lot of people think like it's okay. Like I don't like romantic comedies. It's easy to predict with corny bad jokes, right? It's just not for everyone. And there's a few that I like because the jokes were good. Like Hitch. Hitch was really good because the jokes were really good in it. But anyways, back to the thing. I remember my dad would never. He came to see me wrestle like twice, maybe, and he said it was good. But of course, had to make the comment that like, why didn't you just win? And yeah. But when I won, he didn't say anything. So I really can't win, yeah. So anyways, like he was a few years ago. I brought him over here for Christmas, and he's just sitting in the armchair. I'm sitting on the couch, and I put on uh, Kanta Kobashi versus Misawa from like 95, 96, something like that. Really good competitive match. And I didn't say a word, not a word to him. I just, boom, I started to play it. I started to watch it. Didn't even look his way. It was about a 30-minute match or so. And like 10 minutes into the match, he just goes, wow, this guy's really kicking his ass. Like, so basically, he had Japanese wrestling. He didn't know he was watching pro wrestling. That's my point. He had no idea he was watching pro wrestling because it was so realistically competitive, and the emotions were not based on the drama. Is like who's the better man. So Japan, if I get to wrestle in Japan for a few times, maybe just like usually they do tours, so you go over for a few weeks and you wrestle every day of the week. If I do that and then I have to hang up the boots, I'll have no regrets.
Wow.
I like that. The hang up the boots. Like that's what I
Well,
do.
hanging up the trunks is kind of awkward.
Well, no, I was thinking, I was like, well, because like, okay, I get the boots in wrestling. I was like, well, like Harley, if I was to quit my job, what would I say? Oh, I'm gonna hang up my scrubs. No, that's not as fun as hanging up the boots. No.
Yeah, right. I got to tell you, wrestling boots are not like the greatest footwear to perform athletics in.
It
So
doesn't look it either.
there's like no other reason for me to wear it. I'm so jealous of guys with kick pads that get to wear like really good shoes that are made to perform crazy athletic stuff. I'm so jealous of that. I tried it one time. I looked hideous, but I was so comfortable.
Oh my gosh. So, like, with that being said, if you got a call tomorrow from AEW and then WWE, which one would you take?
Whichever offers the better contract.
Wow.
That's what the professional is. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but the difference between amateur and professional is not skill. The amateur doesn't get paid to do it. pros are getting paid to do it. You know, like how many really bad wrestlers you have seen on TV over the years, um, that like for longer or shorter period of time were there for one reason or another, and it's good for them. Great. I'm not upset at anyone really. Um, so yeah, whichever offers the better opportunity, uh, mostly for longevity to make money. Because I've seen way too many people getting signed to developmental, never make it out of it. As far as I know, developmental contracts are like not anything that you get wealthy off of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not even NXT contract. Like, okay, but of course it depends what you consider real wealth. You know,
Yeah.
so what is that, $100,000? Like, okay, you make $100,000 in 1 year, you pay taxes on it, you pay your rent, you pay your this, you pay your that. Whatever's left, you're not going to open a business with. So that's the way I look at it. What am I getting out of it? Um, as far as the companies goes, I like them for different reasons. I like them both. Of course, I worked for WWE 5 times now, and I did 4-day tryout where they invited me to Orlando. And from the whole tryout, one person was signed, and then a second was signed, and he's still on there, and his name is Austin Theory.
Wow. That's
Yeah, so
Sabrina loves him.
yeah. Hey, Theory is a great fucking guy. He's a great guy. I just had dinner with him in Wilkes-Barre because
Oh, you know, he's
I'm really cool with Snitsky. He's a good big brother, and he was at the Wilkes-Barre show as a guest, just hanging out. And then I start to talk to Theory and catering, and he's like, hey, dude, is that? We were talking about the tryout and how he's doing, how I'm doing. Asked about my daughter, all that kind of stuff, and he's like, is that Snitsky over there? I'm like, yeah, come on, I'll introduce you. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So, good. He's a good guy, super hard worker. Oh my God. I mean, that's no picnic. Anybody who thinks, especially when you're in the main roster, that's that's not as fun as, I mean, it's fun if you're looking to do that kind of job. But if you're not ready to sleep in plane seats and in cars and sleep only a few hours in hotels and or maybe on the floor in the locker room or something, and then it's not for you. Wrestling is like 1%. That like 10 minutes that you spend on screen. That's 1% of the whole business.
Wow.
But I don't have a preference. I don't know how AEW operates. I have a very good understanding how WWE operates. So I would be more say comfortable with that because I already know what to expect on many levels. I have no idea how AEW operates, how much they travel. Um, so I would be delighted to do both. I still have the goal to be, well, if not the first, but if it would happen tomorrow, I would be the first Hungarian to ever have a professional contract. So, if someone else does it before me from my country, hell yeah, I'll be celebrating as much as I would if I would have got the contract. So.
Wow. That's amazing. Um, so with that being said, in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? In the wrestling, wherever?
Well, yeah, let's stick with wrestling. um, Good question. I kind of learned over the years that setting like very strict goals can be as harmful as it can be very good for you. Um, After I did not get signed after my tryout, I was I was really down because I didn't go in because I thought that I'm the shits. It's because people around me who are more experienced, who are mentoring me and everything, said that like, oh, they're gonna love you. You're foreign, you're tall, like they never had a Hungarian before. Like it's just they hyped me up so much I believed it. And then when I got to the tryout, they had a guy from Israel, they had a guy from with Romanian descent. They had like I wasn't the only foreign guy. Like they legitimately threw up a girl and a dude from Israel, I forgot where this guy lived, but he, and like I wasn't the only one who could speak a foreign language and all. And but like the whole tryout experience was great. It was fantastic. I basically, as I said, I'm not the greatest athlete, but towards myself, I did the greatest athletic performance of my life, and I never quit on anything, and I was very proud of myself. And then they published the article about the tryout. My name was mentioned, and you're on this high, and then you get the email like, "Sorry, bye," and then you
God.
kind of dip down a bit. And after that, I really had to rewire myself and not stress about that I must do this, I must do this. Only one, because you become like the horse with the blinders, like you can only go one way. So being multidimensional is much better, and it's much less stressful. So I would say I'd really like to, in the next 5 years, achieve a pro contract, whether it be the NWA, AEW, WWE, New Japan. I don't know what else out there that offers professional NXT UK, whichever it may be. I would really like to earn that, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like I'm not worried about it. I know I'm very confident in what I do in the ring because I don't do anything more nor anything less. So like I get the question a lot. Are you nervous before you go in the ring? I'm like, no, no, I'm not. Only if my opponent is a moron. Like that rarely ever happens, but you just I don't like to I definitely don't like to get hurt, and I definitely don't like to stop people from hurting me because then they get hurt.
Yeah.
And thankfully that never had to happen. So that's it. I think it happened one time, but the dude didn't know I was shooting on him. Like that's how dumb he was. Like he was such a bad worker that like he kept screwing up, would not stop, would not listen when I tried to slow him down, and he screwed up a spot. He was on his hands and knees and tried to go for the ropes to repeat the spot without even talking to me. And he was much smaller than I was. I mean, average size, but I'm probably big. So he was on his hands and knees trying to take off again. I just hooked him and I lift off his feet and just like tossed him across the ring in a German suplex, like dumped him on his head. And
Oh.
like he didn't even know. Like even after the match, hey bro, great match, bro, and all that. I was like, okay, good for you, homie. So yeah, next 5 years would be really nice to make a full-time living, even if it's just for a short period of time. That would be fantastic. And either way, I'm looking to. I now have more business interests going on in my home country through my family, so I'm looking to live like a 50-50 life in the next 5 years between the United States and Hungary, and hopefully not living in Pennsylvania for much longer.
No. We don't blame you.
Too bad, too bad. Ooh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, goodness.
what would you say is like the hardest part about wrestling?
Getting up. People always think it's very difficult to throw people around. Not really. When you take a bump, you have to get up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. I challenge everybody to do an up and down bump and feed drill for about a half a minute and see how they feel. So physically, that's the hardest part, I believe, in wrestling, because when your lung goes away during a match, then your legs go away, and then your brain goes away. So not only everything you do looks like shit, but you also have no idea where the hell you are. So, getting blown up is always something that people should, train for. Stamina and cardio over size, which I'm always surprised how well I can go for my size. But I do a bit of cardio every day. Um, and I did play sports my whole life, so that kind of contributed to that.
Oh yeah. My dad goes and says, takes time and patience. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could not.
pacing is also another thing in wrestling that a lot of people get wrong. And sometimes I find myself rushing. And a really good advice that I got from one of my trainers from France that I mentioned that, we had like people coming in to train us from all over in the early days. He always said, every time you think you go too slow, go slower. Because if
Mm.
you think you go too slow, you're rushing already. So just slow down. And it works tremendously. Great advice.
That was actually our next question too.
Which
What's
one?
the advice? We always ask like people like what's like the best advice that they've gotten given to them. I can't speak, and
Okay.
they
Well,
kind of
that was a good advice, but wasn't I don't know if I have a best advice. Um, I think, one of my idols in wrestling is Lou Thesz, who was the son of a Hungarian shoemaker, born as Tiza Lajos. And here in the United States, his father was born in Hungary and mother was born in Hungary. And he had a saying that if it is to be, it is up to me. So basically, you control your own destiny. If you want to do something, you just do it. And then I think Nigel McGuinness had a DVD a few years back when he had to retire. I forget why. Maybe he got like hepatitis or something that so he couldn't bleed on other people anymore. Um, and I think he got it like in a match or like shit happens, and he had to retire. And he made a DVD about his career and put it up, like created like a GoFundMe type of stuff. Buy my DVD, and however much you want to buy it for, And he was raising like X amount of money. And I remember watched the longer trailer of the DVD, and he said something that stuck with me and said, "Our job is to get the most out of the least."
Wow.
So
I,
those two are that are really like set my work ethic towards a certain direction. And that's why, like, when someone says, "Hey, you got 8 minutes tonight," I was like, "Oh, great. All right. Let's not break a sweat. Let's get the most out of the least." And, I'm not saying that I'd be wrestling lazy, but, when sometimes I see, and it's also not my style as a big man. So maybe if I'd be 5'9" and 190, 200 pounds, maybe I would go much quicker and would be more athletically demanding, but I don't believe that's my job. Um, I'm very old school in that way. I don't necessarily like to see big guys pulling off stuff that's supposed to be the job of the smaller guys. It's like we can, like, because you can't really reverse it. Yeah.
yeah.
You can't expect a guy like Rey Mysterio to gorilla press Randy Orton. So why would Randy Orton do the 619 or any other lucha stuff that he does? Because of his size, it's much easier to do. But of course, a bigger athletic guy can do it. Like Ed House, he's bigger than me, and he can do a lion salt, which is insane.
Yeah.
Guy is 6'5", 275 pounds, and he can do a lion salt off the second rope like Chris Jericho, and he's double the size of Chris Jericho. And the bastard still does it. Eddie, if you watch it, screw you. Taking the corn from the cornbread from the little guys.
Goodness. Yeah, I seen last night one of the current PPW stars, Action Andretti. He won against Chris Jericho, which was big to see.
Yeah,
But
I've
that
seen that finish. No
yeah.
comment.
You
Great
see-
guy. It's just like I thought it was a badly booked finish.
Do you see yourself coming back to PPW at all, or? Mm,
Well, that's when the next time you're there, ask them why don't they return my messages. Maybe I did something. I don't know.
ooh,
So when
yes.
I full time came back to wrestle, they were one of the first guys I messaged that, hey, if you need me, I'm back wrestling full time, and because I got injured, I got power bombed on my head, and then the pandemic hit, so it was like good timing almost to get injured, and I had to assess, what am I doing with my life? I'm a father first and foremost, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a cripple. Um, and thankfully my neck didn't break. I specifically trained my neck like every wrestler should, but every one of my vertebrae in my neck got out of alignment completely, and I couldn't turn my head like this without pain at all, like severe pain. So it took 3 months of treatment to get everything back in order, and I'm 100%. Again, nothing broke, nothing slipped. It was just like out of alignment. The X-ray clearly showed it. Um, so yeah, when I came back, I messaged PPW, uh, left a few messages. They read it and they never answered. So if you just say no, I don't care. I'm an adult. Like,
Exactly.
you know. So yeah, I loved always wrestling at PPW. It was always a lot of fun. That's how I met you.
Mhm.
Without it, I wouldn't be on the show probably. Um, so yeah, that's just it. I left my messages. They read it and never returned an answer. So
Oh
that's
my
that's
God.
the brief story. Nothing more, nothing less. No hard feelings on my end. If you don't need me to work, I don't work. I work somewhere else.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I'll be honest with you. She told me that we're having you on our podcast, and I literally said to her, I was like, "Who?" She's like, "He was at PPW. Like, it's fine." And I was like, okay." Like, I just go along with
Yeah.
it because like we're getting to this point now. We're really like we're starting to branch out to other wrestlers and other things. So like we're gonna have these conversations where I've never met you, and or she's never met someone, but it's getting out of our shell. So this is
Yeah.
me getting out of my shell right now, and I'm like. I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting here going, I don't know how this is gonna go tonight. I don't know.
I was like, don't worry, he's really nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I freaking texted her. I'm like, oh my God, do you hear his accent? Like, I've never fully heard your accent before. So, I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Your
He
girl's
looks like me
making
at
me blush.
PPW. The last PPW show, he looks like me because I was like, oh my god, Brandon, did you see that? Oh my god.
Oh my God. Oh gosh, I
Oh
can't.
Lord, I know it's crazy.
Oh my God. Do you sell any merch?
Do I still have merch?
Yeah. Or
Yes. Yes, I still have. Damn, I almost sold all my shirts, but yeah, I still have my new shirt. Well, new. I mean, it came out this summer. Before that, I haven't had a new shirt since like 2019 because I wasn't wrestling anywhere.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, those shirts are selling really well. The graphic is it was actually lifted out of real life. At the CZW show, I gave the Sword of Attila, which is like the big lariat that I do, to Ryo, and to his misfortune, I caught him flush in the face, and to my fortune, the photographer, Lyle Williams, rest in peace, I loved him. Um, he caught it at the perfect time, and my graphic designer in Hungary made basically he lifted that picture out and made like a caricature, like a cartoon version of it, and like designed my name over it and under it. But you can find it on my Instagram page, and if not, I'll just send it to you. But yeah, I still have some shirts, mostly in all sizes, I think. But not much left. I think I sold like 70% of it, so I'm really really happy about that. And hopefully by the end of January it will be all gone because I'm hoping to sell all of it at the AXW show on January 7th in Hamburg, and then Pro Wrestling Empire on January 21st, and then hopefully because it's always so exciting to get a new design done. I'm not the most creative person in the world, so I like I just give like my childishly small ideas to very creative people, and then when they come back with something, then my mind fires off, and then I can refine it really good. But it's always for me a very exciting time. Least exciting time about a part about it is paying for them because everything gets so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does become a financial risk, like thankfully I always sold all of my shirts within, I should say, a calendar year or so. So that, but yeah, shirts I still have, and I need to make new graphics for 8x10s. But I still have my old 8x10s that were made at PPW, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Can
I
you
gotta say,
imagine?
I'm pretty sure I still have one. I have to show Sabrina and be like, oh my god, this is what he used to look like. And like, he's so tall now. I mean, you were tall then,
No, I
but
was about to say I'm not like you. In my 30s, I don't grow taller, just wider. Well, of course, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I stopped growing. I stopped growing at Harley's age. Yeah, I've been this age since I was 14 years old. I've been this height since I was 14 years old, not this age. But why not? You have to do what you have to do. You have to deal with what you got, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sabrina, you have any more questions?
Well, we talked about the recent shows that you're going to be at. And if people want to find you, like on Instagram, where can they find you at?
Very easy. It's at Hungarian Hero. But basically, all of my social media is at Hungarian Hero or at Hungarian_hero. But mostly, I'm active on Instagram. I took a good step back from from day-to-day interactions on Facebook. I do have a Twitter. It's just like I never understood why it's so popular, so I barely use it. But I do use it, which is also at Hungarian Hero, um, and just Laszlo Arpad on Facebook, um, and that's it. Like, but I on the Facebook Messenger or anything, I used to be really active and still like with some promoters. That's the only place to get in touch with. Um, but other than that, like I don't even know what else is there for social media at all, and I just can't be bothered that much. I think too old for this shit.
I think you're better off, to be honest with you, because like
Yeah,
every time Harley and I are like promoting this podcast, she's like, "Yeah, find us on Instagram, this, that, Facebook," and I'm over here like, "Okay, yeah, you can find our podcast on Facebook, but you can't find me. I
yeah,
don't have Facebook." And everyone's like, "You're 26-year-old and don't have Facebook?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't know."
yeah. Like I do like some rap music, and one of my favorite rappers said in one of his songs that like my public life is a riot, but my personal life is private, and kind of that's how I feel about it myself. To keep very personal. I mean, in October, PWE ran a big, very successful show at the Zembo Temple here in Harrisburg, where WWF used to run. So it's a very historic venue. 850 some people in the crowd. So it was a fantastic show, and that was the first time ever my daughter saw me wrestle live. So she's almost 8 years old, but this is the first time. I know how the business can be, and I try to keep away the people that I love from the business. And like also it's hard to coordinate to like I don't when I'm at work, okay, like a lot of people are like bringing their whole entourage to the show, wife, kids, girlfriend, whatever the hell. And I'm like, man, like like do you bring them to your job too? I mean, you're getting paid to work here. Like now all
Yeah.
of a sudden there's like 5 6 people backstage that shouldn't be there. It's just like how I'm wired. I'm not saying that you're a bad person because of it if you do it. It's just I don't do it.
Yeah.
Like I go in, my mind is like focused on my job, which is to get the most out of the least and give the people a good show and satisfy the promoters. So one, I get paid, two, I get brought back, and I can keep doing what I love doing. And when it's done, when I get the envelope and I shake the hands and I get in my car, job's over. Cool, we can hang out now. We can do something now. That's fine. But when I'm there, I'm working, and I look at it as just like any other job because I get paid to work, and you get paid to work. Like imagine how awkward it would be. You said scrubs, so you work in a hospital. How awkward would it be to show up with your mom and dad and your boyfriend? Oh, they just came along to watch me work. Like no, if I, so like my daughter wasn't backstage. That's what I'm trying to say. You know,
Yeah.
like I arranged with her grandparents that like, hey, here, 1 ticket, 2 ticket, 3 ticket. bring her to the show. I'll call me when you park. I'll let you in the back, and you can take your seats. And then that's it. Wait until intermission. Come to my table. Say goodnight to my daughter, and off you go. But it wasn't like running around backstage holding her. It's just not me. Not it's just not my style because I can be easily disturbed, like as far as like thrown off my focus. So, and
Yeah.
I'm very passionate. I'm a very passionate father. So when my daughter is around, everything else becomes like very much secondary.
Mm, I love
Like
that.
You
I couldn't have her running around here and doing this. That's how bad. That's how bad it is.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's all for me. I want to say thank you, obviously, for coming on. It was really fun. I'm like, Sabrina, we got to have him on. I was so dominant about having you on. I'm like, every single week, let's book him, let's book him. And then finding a date was so freaking hard. And I'm like, we'll get him on. And then we finally
Well,
got
I'm
you.
busy,
Yeah, you're a busy man.
as a
I
man should
mean,
be.
finding like the right schedules for not just you but like all the wrestlers is
Yeah.
hard. So it's like because
Yeah,
we're working against her schedule, my schedule, and
right.
the wrestler's schedule. So it's really hard. But
and
no,
and
I
like with
it,
my shoot job, with my day job outside of wrestling, like I work at times where other people are off. So like normally I'm free during the normal work hours, like between like 10 and 4, I'm usually not doing anything, and then between 4 and 8 I work, or in the morning from 6 to 10. But yeah, so for me, to find time for anything is difficult, but I don't care because it's my life. I live it my way.
that's
Yeah.
right. No, I do want to say though, it was a pleasure to meet you, and I can't wait to see you wrestle. Maybe one day soon, maybe January 7th, because that's where we'll
Yeah,
be.
yeah. Hey, I'll keep you girls to that.
I know I got my tickets already, so I'll be there. Just obviously weather permitting, but
Well, I think you're now, Sabrina. I think it's game over for you.
I know.
Now you just can't be a no-show. You know.
yeah,
I
exactly.
know. I know. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm off that day. Harley even knows I'm off that day. So if I'm not there, she's gonna be like, "So what are you doing that you're not here?"
Yeah, literally.
Plus, it's in Hamburg. It's like the middle. Anyone can get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hamburg's like 15 minutes away from me. It's not that hard.
All right, please, Harley, do a favor for the lady. Okay.
She has a ticket. I got her a ticket.
Yeah, she got me a ticket.
Okay.
I have it. I'll be there. I promise.
No, she
Of
just
course,
doesn't
weather
go.
permitting. Weather permitting in
Good deal.
Oh my
the
God.
future.
But
But I do want to say to our viewers, make sure that, you give Laszlo a follow on social media. Also, next week, we have a very special 2 podcasts. We have Sawyer. Oh God, am I saying this wrong?
Pat Sawyer.
Sorry. And we have Adrian from Primal Fear and a few other surprises in the mix as well that we are not going to be sharing. You're going to have to come find out.
Yeah, so make sure you're checking those out. And next week is freaking Christmas. So,
Crazy.
get hyped, be happy. Santa Claus is coming. No, I'm just kidding.
Make sure you leave your cookies out.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming on. And that wraps up tonight's episode. Bye.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Thank